Hello, hello, hello. FIFA Club World Cup show, Qooligan Soccer Special, a global showdown coming at you. Episode 10 with myself, Gary Striker, the man with the hands as always, the Qooligan, and of course a regular familiar face that we know, Devin, one half of the Soccer Sharps, a soccer betting podcast. Gentlemen, we have just come off that midday game batch of the Benfica Bayern game, and we're still Qooligan. It looks like you're still watching like you're supporting Auckland. Yes. So hopefully we can have some of your attention while you're watching Auckland hang on for dear life there. But guys, welcome back. Another day. Devin, you were just saying how it's been 10 days of Club World Cup, and it feels like it's been a lot longer than that. I'm assuming that's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely a good thing. It's been so much fun having all these matches on all the time. It's not good for my graying hairs as I try to watch these bets come through.
I had a black beard at the start of it.
Yeah,
and I was clean shaven.
It's been a lot, and it feels like the narratives move just lightning fast because one thing happens, all of a sudden we're on to the next round of games, and more stuff's happening, more talking points, and it's been a lot of fun, but boy, has it been a lot. I'm looking forward to the end of this group stage, to be honest.
Yeah,
it's called group stage fatigue, and I think I think this is bollocks. Boca just scored. Anyway, group stage fatigue, I think, is acknowledged in the American Medical Association's handbook of diseases. So
what is the recommended cure for that? Is it just another beer? Is that what it is?
What is the cure? Kill Infantino. No, I'm just kidding. No, let's not do that. But no, it just group stages are hard.
Slog, okay? It's a slog.
They're hard on the players. They're hard on the fans. They're hard on the pundits like us. So.
Indeed. I'm glad that we've referred to us as pundits as well. We really are coming up in the world as well. Hey, that's wonderful to hear, Qooligan. Yes. So, gentlemen, before we get into it, so Devin, obviously you've been on before, but just to sort of remind everyone, obviously where they can get your engaging and wonderful content, and also potentially money making, not money losing content. Do you just want to give everyone just a quick shout out to sort of what show you guys run and who you guys are?
Sure, yeah. So I'm one half of the Soccer Sharps, a soccer betting podcast. You can find us on all the podcast platforms as well as YouTube. But yeah, Spotify, Apple, anywhere you get podcasts, we are there to give you all your betting needs. We mainly cover Europe, and we do it with American odds, but we are all over this tournament. So if you're looking for wagers to place here and you want some guidance, we can give that to you. I'm a little bit salty at the moment because lost on that Bayern Munich match, which I think we're going to get to, so I don't want to jump into it too much right now. But overall, we've been doing quite well. We're up about 6 units. So if you're $100 better, that's $600 extra in your pocket. So it's going pretty well for us.
Wow. So playing
every
behind
day is
you,
an adventure.
So what you're saying is playing in behind you and your brother Jordan will basically 6x their money to date. Is that correct on the Club World Cup? Is that right?
On the Club World Cup to date, that's right. Yeah.
Wow.
So if you're tailing all of our plays, look, you win some, you lose some, but the ones you hit, And of course, always bet responsibly. Don't put your mortgage on anything, especially a crazy tournament like this. But it's been a lot of fun.
Or pay off your mortgage in 1/6 the time as well if you are betting as well by the sounds of it as well.
Careful, right? Gary, careful.
Very careful. No.
Indeed. And of course, as always, everyone, as you know, obviously we have the Qooligan and myself. Obviously, we are sort of, a big part of hooligan-soccer.com. Obviously, this verticalized media business that's focusing on the US. Obviously, there's write-ups, there's game reviews, there's banter, there's shithousery, there's all those wonderful things in the articles, the socials, and all those kind of things. So follow, like, subscribe, all of those wonderful things.
I am the banter. Gary is the shithousery. And as an update, the Boca goal was called back for handling.
There we go. Well,
prior to the goal going in the net, it was determined that the ball was handled.
Okay. Dead rubber, right. I think that one, right? Because Benfica won outright, so they now top the group. Bayern in second.
This is what I like to call the zombie game. There is there is no reason for either. There was no reason to go back on the field, to be fair. Actually there was. There's that small little $3 million prize money for winning a match, actually, which I will not sniff at. If Auckland was to do the unthinkable, and win this match, that would almost double that would almost double the amount of money that they make off this tournament, because they made 3.9 or 4 million just for showing
Just
up,
for qualifying, right? Yeah.
just for
And
qualifying.
even if they draw, they get $1 million for it as well. Well, gentlemen, we did have an agenda, but you've just hijacked it. So why don't we just start with these games as well? So I agree. It's fantastic to see that Auckland have scored a goal, because I think we were discussing this yesterday and saying that would be an achievement in itself.
And I've been praying for it, and I called it in my write-up earlier on the site. I did say that they were going to score a goal today. And they have.
And so they're sitting 1-1 at the moment. Boca have not looked potent at all. Again, they sadly, it looks as though their journey has come to an end in this Club World Cup, and they will be heading back to Buenos Aires. And obviously with, what did they got 2 draws in the, no, they got one draw and a loss as well. So only the $1 million, which I think equates to about I think it's about 70 million pesos in their sort of local currency as well. So hopefully they can do something with that. But one thing I will say is their fans have definitely been a complete value add. The energy that the fans and the Boca fans have brought. As you know, I went to 2 of their games for this very reason, and they were absolutely fantastic. So I think the Boca fans...
They look to be in great form here. Lots of singing, lots of chanting. And to be fair, there are very few Auckland fans that are flying out from New Zealand to come to the United States to support the team. Anybody that's there is probably an expat Kiwi, or somebody who just happens to be Kiwi adjacent.
Yeah, exactly.
Throwing a little love behind the team. You see very few people in Auckland jerseys. You see very little Auckland merch anywhere. I think the cameras are struggling to find anybody that actually, frankly, supports that side. Just out of curiosity, Devin, do you know what the line was on Auckland scoring a goal?
I don't know whether to score a goal. I know they were 5.5 goal underdogs for this match, which I did not have.
That's some good money. Yeah, that's
it is,
and rightly so. I wouldn't have taken that either.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so that leaves, and then of course the other game that we all had on while the weather suspension was going on was that Benfica Bayern game. Devin, from a betting perspective, as you say, you were a little bit disgruntled on this one. You had Bayern. I'm assuming you just thought they were going to be German, ruthless, efficient machines and just run through those Portuguese guys.
Well, I not even necessarily taking a side there. I just had the total. It was set at 2.5 goals. I thought there's got to be at least 3 goals in this match, and I thought it could come from both ends. So a little bit surprising not see Bayern even get on the board. They had a lot of rotation in this game, right? I think they made 7 changes to the starting lineup, and then very promptly brought in 3 new players at halftime, which totally changed the game. Flipped the game state there, and it just became all Bayern for the second half, and they just couldn't put it away because this Benfica keeper is, I don't know, the next coming of Manuel Neuer. Who is this guy?
Yeah, I mean, he looks good. This Ukrainian guy, Trubin, he's 23 years old from Donetsk, and wow, I mean, he's 6'6". He looks like an absolute monster as well, right? But yeah, I mean, he had the game of his life. I don't know. Maybe he's had a better game. I don't know. But that was incredible to keep the Bayern team up, right? They were throwing everything at it.
Yeah, they put up, 1.98 XG off of 13 shots and failed to score. So pretty incredible. I mean, look, they had a couple called up back for offsides or something in the buildup. But yeah, I really, really could have used 2 more goals in that match. It would have been nice for me. So a little bit salty about that. But, fair play to Benfica. And this has got to be a huge disappointment for Bayern, right? Not to top the group here.
I think it actually presents some really interesting challenges for later today because, the Group D, you've got Flamengo that's essentially guaranteed to go through, right? They've punched their ticket. LAFC has really nothing to play for except pride. And we've seen that pride can sometimes be a sufficient motivator. But then you've got this Chelsea Esperance game, and Flamengo's going, this is awesome because we're top. Or actually, they're probably thinking, actually, it's the opposite, my bad. They're thinking, great, we've topped the group, or we could top the group. But then we get the joy of playing Bayern.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you rather want? Who would you rather play?
Wouldn't want to play
Benfica?
Bayern. I'd rather Benfica.
I'd rather Benfica. So does Flamengo do something
I don't
devious? I don't think they do, but
they would have to first of all lose, and I don't think that's something that a Brazilian team would be so keen on doing. And then also, they would have to lose by quite a few goals as well, right? Because just looking at the group stages as it is, right? Flamengo, I mean, their goal difference is 4, and Chelsea are on 0 on their goal difference as well. So Chelsea are going to have to put in a lot of goals against Tunis tonight, which I don't know if that's going to happen as well. So even then, I think you just go for it, take the $3 million and sort of.
Babe.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. I actually think Chelsea could put quite a few up against Esperance. I called 3. I think that they treble them, only because LAFC gave Esperance the openness and the opportunities to come in and counter effectively, and that is not something that Chelsea, I think, will do. They're going to be quicker to engage. They're going to be quicker to defend, and that's going to challenge them. So I actually predict Chelsea could put quite a few in. This could be Cole Palmer's game to show that he still got a little mojo.
He has definitely not performed. He has not performed in the last 2 games for sure as well. He's definitely been off the boil a little bit. I'd say the one advantage Chelsea do have is that they don't have to worry about Nicholas Jackson being on the bench and coming in and fucking it up for everyone as well. That is for sure.
They don't have to worry about him for a long time. He's out at least 2. So
he got a 2 games
this
suspension.
one and he misses the next one.
Well, that could, and that next one could actually be in 4 years' time if they even make it again as well, because they may get knocked out. Because again, there is a world where Chelsea don't turn up and Tunis beat them and go through. And we've seen some shocks. We have seen some shocks already.
Okay.
So
wow.
I don't know. Devin,
I can't believe you're the one who's saying that. I'm shocked.
I think it's called emotional arbitrage here, I think, as well, or hedging my emotions here in a way. So, Devin, on the money line, how are you guys looking at this Chelsea Tunis game? Because I think that's going to be the interesting one this season.
Not
right?
touching that with a 10-foot pole, but there is no chance. Who is this Chelsea team? They've been so disappointing, I think. Very conservative play. They got cooked by Flamengo, which I personally love to see, but and Flamengo, I think, is really good. I actually think if they do face Bayern, they absolutely could beat Bayern there. Esperance, they could do something here against Chelsea. So I'd be on upset watch as well.
They are tricksy. They're tricksy. I saw them play in LAFC live, and I really liked the way. I liked them. I thought they were great. They didn't look good in the first game. Mm-hmm. They were flat, but they got sparky. They got sparky in that second one, and I think there's going to be a fair representation of red and gold up in Philadelphia, because they played their first game there. So everybody's, all the Tunisians are heading into Philly, baby. So it's going to be loud. Should be loud.
Yeah. Now, just going back to your previous point, Qooligan, as well, you're talking about finishing first or second. Again, Chelsea, if they do finish second, they will then end up playing Benfica because, of course, Benfica won their group as well. So that's, again, going back to that point, for Flamenco, would you rather play Benfica or Bayern? I think you want to play Benfica naturally. But again, if you want to progress in this competition now in this knockout phase, you can't have an attitude of like trying to play the groups and sort of the angles. You have to say, just bring on who's next. We'll play them and we'll see how it goes. You have to go and attack it, right?
Yep. Agreed.
Okay, so that's any other, and then obviously we've got LAFC against Flamenco. I mean, Devin, are you betting on that one? Do you have any money lines or sort of thoughts on this one, or is that's
absolutely not?
The odds are too bad on that one.
Yeah, odds are too bad. What kind of rotation is Flamengo going to do here? They're essentially through, so not worth speculating on. LAFC, I mean, I'm an Angelino myself. I don't have a ton of support for the team, but I think this could get ugly. But you know what? I said the same about PSG Seattle Sounders yesterday, and that wasn't a terrible loss for them. So I could see something similar, maybe like a tidy 2-0, maybe 2-1.
Yeah. So just looking at the the brackets as it stands at the moment. So we have on Saturday, we have a wonderful Brazilian match off of Palmeiras against Botafogo. We're going to be looking at PSG against Inter Miami, because obviously those are the 2 teams that went through yesterday. So looking back at those games yesterday, I mean, that for me was probably the most thrilling 2 sets of games that we were watching.
2 hours, 2 hours of the tournament, in my opinion.
They were so
just
good.
Manic.
I had we had the Inter Palmeiras game on and watching it, and then obviously I kept checking the score, and you and I were messaging Qooligan, of course, and it was, I felt a little bit sort of, I had FOMO as well, just all those goals being bagged in for that
I actually switched my big TV. I switched my big TV about maybe 35 minutes into the contest. It said, "Oh, screw this! I gotta watch this. I gotta watch this Ali Porto game, and I'll put Messi on the little screen." I just did not. And it was worth it.
Yeah,
it was absolutely worth it.
It was.
By the way, happy birthday, Lionel Messi! It is his birthday today. So
38 years old. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 38 years old.
And he's
today,
still getting it done. I mean, he's still the same incredible player. You can't get the ball off him.
Nope.
He's just magical. I can't say anything that not everybody else has already said about the guy, but you talk about aura. The guy, as soon as he gets the ball, everyone's like, "Oh shit." Even the commentators are like, "Uh-oh."
Yeah. Well, one thing I did notice, and I don't know if I'm alone here, is did you notice the number of Miami players that went down with cramp yesterday? There was about I think there were 3 players that went down with cramp, and then towards the end, Messi was walking, he was hobbling, Suarez had to go off, and then I know we've discussed this before, but the problem Miami have is their depth. Their depth of pool, right? They've got their designated players, they've got their 4 sort of ex-Barcelona boys in there. And then it's sort of like, what else have they got, right? That I don't know if you saw that towards the end, Fafa had through a goal, and he just had this abominable touch that let him down. It could have been a sort of comfortable goal as well. Yeah, and you can just see that. And we discussed this. I think this is where Miami are going to have to run into problems with the sort of the level of intensity of each game is going to get more and more, and they're going to be playing every 3 or 4 days of this tournament football. So I don't think Messi, Suarez, and co have the legs, and I do wonder if this will be a kind of a gentle reminder to Messi and say, this is what it's going to be like in Argentina. Going to be like for Argentina if you do go to the World Cup and try and defend this title again, and do you want to go and do that? And I do wonder if you will go and do that, because it would be a shame to sort of again stay in the game too long and sort of fade away, rather than just to step aside at the top and say thanks very much, I'm done.
He'll be there.
Yeah,
he's got to be there.
He'll be there.
He'll be there. I mean, that'll be his last one, but the Argentina team is quite good even without him. So he actually has less pressure. He can come in and be a super sub and change games that way. He doesn't have to start every match for them, particularly in the group stage.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
And then do you think that this PSG Miami game, now that this is lining up, obviously I know there's kind of this sort of narrative going around of like PSG, so Messi gets to go up against PSG and sort of get back at them. I don't know.
Revenge game.
True. Yeah, I don't know why, because I mean he had a 1-year contract. It was a great contract, and then that was it. Thanks very much. And then he moved on to Miami. So do you think, I mean, I don't see Miami getting past PSG here. I mean, it's going to be a wonderful, exciting matchup, but any sort of thoughts on how this is going to shake from your perspective?
No, I don't see it. I don't see it.
But I don't see it either. But we also didn't really see him getting out of the group either. So look, unbeaten in 6 matches, this Inter Miami team, they can't be beaten.
Yeah.
But I think
they also
PSG
can't win. But
they did draw. They did draw. Yeah, they did draw.
But I gotta give a little shout out to Palmeiras, who stuck to their guns, and I suppose it would be fair to say that they just out endured Miami, because Miami just lost so much steam and so much momentum that Palmeiras came through. I'm going to go out on a limb. I think Estevao is overhyped and ridiculously underperforming. There's too much pressure on him, or he's really just not that good, and Chelsea overpaid. So sorry, Gary.
No, I'm with you on this one, Qooligan. I'm with you on this one. I agree. I was watching it, and this is why I was watching the Palmeiras game, for that, as kind of a Chelsea fan and as a Messi fan, and just to see how these two would line up. And I think that there was a couple of interesting things. I thought Mascherano's tactics for Miami was basically park the bus and play counter-attacking football, which they did to start with, and they got the goal. And I think he knew that they didn't have the legs to go it, and then Palmeiras were going to have the fitness and the ability to sort of outrun them and cover more miles than him. Estevao, he played too far on the wide for me, to be perfectly honest. He was kind of stuck on the wing and pinned in and then coming in. I prefer him when he was a little bit more central and in the channel. But I agree with you, just looking at him. If he goes to Chelsea at the end of this season and tries to break into that first team, I think it's going to be a real misstep for his career. I think he's very talented. You can see he's good with his feet. He's nimble. He's quick. He can move around the ball. He didn't seem to lose it. However, he's 17, just turned 18 years of age. he's light. He's going to get barged off the ball. He's going to get crunched, and it's too early. He needs to probably go to a Porto or somewhere sort of in that level as well, some of that European level, and just basically sort of age out a little bit, fill up a little bit, and as well get a little bit more experience, because it's going to be too much of a step, and I just don't think going to Chelsea would be the right move for him. I do think he does look very good, but I just think it's too early for him as well. But to be fair, they only paid, when I say only, this is ridiculous, these words are coming out, they paid $35 million for him, and there's bonuses and add-ons, right? So it's,
You
for
really
a
use the
potential
word
star,
only in front of
I
those
know,
numbers?
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, my question for him would just be like, why would you want to go to Chelsea? No offense
exactly
here, Gary,
right.
but Chelsea is where attacking players go to die. We've seen that since, the Christian Pulisic days, where the guy was great and then suddenly is just on the outs. Christopher Nkunku completely lost his form as soon as he got there. It just seems like a graveyard for these players. Jackson's another great one.
We can
keep listing them
rattle off
because
names.
And why do they keep doing this? They just keep bringing these sort of pacey, quick-footed wingers. It's like, that's not what you guys need. And I wouldn't want to go there. I think a loan to somewhere like Porto or Benfica is actually perfect. But Chelsea, I'm excited to see what happens tonight with Chelsea, because I would have my upset watch on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's definitely, I agree with you. And look, you're not wrong, Devin, about sort of, what happens in midfield. Is like the only one who's come out of this is Cole Palmer, who's looked good. I know he's had a real drop off in form for the last half of the season, but I agree with you. Every single one else has been there. Neto maybe has been okay.
Neto's been good. Neto's been
okay, but Madueke as well. Again, I just don't think these players are ready. There is such a big sort of pressure playing for Chelsea. And look, now they're in the Champions League as well. That will be the allure and the draw. And sort of, yes, if you're Esteval, I can go and play Champions League soccer, and I can go and get into the top leagues as well. But again, I think it will be a misstep. And I do think there is some sort of shuffling of the pack that probably needs to go on the Chelsea side as well, for sure.
Well, can we spend a moment and talk about this Porto Al Ahly game? Because in my opinion, this was the best game of the tournament. Hands down.
It was electric, wasn't it?
This is what we want the tournament to be.
Yeah.
It was remarkable. Just astounding. And I've got to give a big shout out to Wassoum Abu Ali, who, he's a Palestinian striker. Played for Palestine up until 3 days before the Club World Cup. Had to fly in, I think via Canada, to get into the country. Didn't have any time to train with the team, but he got a perfect hat trick last night. Right, he got left foot, right foot header.
Yeah,
doesn't get any better than that, ladies and gentlemen. The only thing that would have made it better is, of course, if Al Ahly had won, but there was quite a few reasons why that didn't happen. But what a game. Yeah. Porto, Ali's putting them down. Porto's counter-striking. Ali's coming back. Porto's coming. I got nothing else. I was screaming in the living room just every time someone would get close to the ball. And here's from a numbers perspective, from a fitness perspective, the last 20 minutes of that game, there was no midfield. Like, the midfield's just dissolved. All it was long balls, people running both sides of the field. I was feeling bad. Their players must have clocked 7 miles, 8 miles.
Yeah, they're running
in that game.
Well, I'll be honest, I didn't get to see this match. I was too invested in Palmeiras coming top of the group there, which they ended up doing. Thankfully, I was just so angry, just so angry watching that. But finally, they came through. I will say I had a little bit of like flashbacks when I saw 89th minute Pepe goal for Porto. I was like, Pepe, he's back, but but no, looking
Brazilian
at some of the
Pepe.
numbers, the numbers here, this game was, you're right. There's no midfield, because let's see, we had 19 shots on target between the two teams, 40 shots overall. So they were just launching shots. This is great. Must have been a lot of fun.
And it was fun. And not only was it fun, it was joyful. Both teams you could see the passion, not just reflected in the teams in the stands. right? I don't know whether it was just because of the way they had all the cameras, but every time you saw the stands, it was nothing but red. I mean, it was just all Ollie red, and they were loud. Yeah, I don't have much else. I don't have much else to say. That if you didn't see it, it's probably worth going back and watching in its entirety. And I don't say that about that many games. This game, it's probably worth it. Probably worth it.
Speaking of young players, the young player that has impressed me the most is that young Porto player, Rodrigo Mora.
Mora.
He
that's
looks
what
good.
Esteval wants to be.
That's
who Esteval wants to be.
He has been the best young player that I've seen in this entire tournament so far. I know there's been some other good ones as well bubbling up, but he has been the player. And it's unfortunate that obviously his time has come to an end because obviously Porto are now obviously not going to be going through. But he was the best looking young player as well, and I'm sure he will definitely sort of have a lot of attention.
I think Yildiz is still better than. I think Yildiz is as far as the tournament goes. I think Yildiz is just as good.
Another great young player, I agree. But yeah, and definitely also impressed me as well. But he is the one I hadn't even heard of, and it wasn't on the radar, and he's definitely put himself on the radar for sure after.
And I'm going to go out on a limb right now because he's going to get a contract. Nathan Garrow, the goalkeeper for Auckland, who has been, so he's a full-time student at Auckland at the University of Auckland. Okay, so he's going for someone's going to be coming along saying, "Hey, here's some money. You can always go back to school." And I suspect he's going to be tempted to leave New Zealand pretty damn quick because he has made an absolute name for himself.
Good for him. If that does happen, that really justifies their entire time in the tournament. Love to see it.
Not to mention,
it looks like they're going to get a point here off of Boca Juniors, which is pretty nice.
They could, and if they get a point, that would be revelatory. That would be. I think it's one of the signs of the apocalypse.
Yeah.
If Auckland City actually gets a point in an international tournament.
Auckland getting a point. There's how many minutes to go? 5 minutes to go by the looks of it. Is that right?
Something like that.
They've been wow. Look at this, and they've been throwing that Boca 31 shots, 7 on target. Look at that. They've just been giving it everything.
And the thing is that you look at the saves and all that. That doesn't actually show how confident he's been because he's stepping up and intercepting crosses, right? So he's doing the business, and that one goal got classified as an own goal, which is without a doubt one of the biggest crimes because he had no idea. I mean, he's stuck on the line like he's supposed to. The ball comes off the post and hits him in the arm. It's like, come on, that just sucks.
Yeah,
but what are you gonna do?
Okay.
There's my plug, Nathan Garrow, ladies and gentlemen. Remember the name.
There we go. Wonderful. Okay, so in terms of that,
you'll be playing goal in a Champions League side for you sometime soon. I'm sure. Or sorry, and championship side.
Championship, you think so?
Side. I misspoke. There we go. Yes.
Devin, any other young players that have caught your attention as well? So I think those are the three that we mentioned: the Auckland goalkeeper, Moira, obviously Yildiz, the Juventus striker. Did I pronounce that correctly? Is that right?
Yildiz. Yep.
Yildiz,
of course, for Juventus. Well, we've already kind of talked about him, but the goalkeeper for Benfica today, I think he's 23-year-old Ukrainian goalkeeper. Well, I'll be remembering cursing his name for quite some time after his performance today. But I definitely noticed him. I'm the only guy screaming about it. Richard Rios, number 8 for Palmeiras. The guy is an incredible metronome in the middle of the field. He's 25, so he's not really that young in terms of football, but I don't get why he's not being picked up by somebody in the Prem, or at least La Liga. But anyway, I do want to bring this up. I don't know if you guys want to talk about the yesterday afternoon games. We had the PSG Seattle match, PSG winning that 2-0. Of course, I had them to win by 2. So we get what's called a push. So you don't win, you don't lose. Makes everybody sad. But I wonder, Luis Enrique came out after the game and he's complaining about the pitch and the quality of it. And that's on the day after, I think it was Jude Bellingham was complaining about the pitches. And I know you guys are big grass fans on this podcast and the different styles of grass.
Well, so the Qooligan is the grass guy as well. If you want grass,
sure. When it comes to pitch surfaces, so that there's no confusion.
He's an Arsenal grass guy.
Yes.
But this is super interesting for the World Cup next summer, right? Probably, I would say, the more important quote unquote tournament. And a lot of these are being played at the American football stadiums, and almost all of them have artificial turf, right? They don't use an actual grass field. So they're trying to adapt these grass pitches in for this. I'm like, they got to figure this out before the World Cup next summer. I mean, if you're going to play at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey for the World Cup final, and you're going to have either a plastic pitch or a thing with holes in it, like, what are we doing here? They got to figure this out.
No. So just and it's really interesting you mentioned that, Devin. Just remember, this is the first time in a World Cup, actually the second time in a World Cup. Normally what happens in the run up to the World Cup in the year before is they have another tournament as well, which is normally, it's kind of like the old club where it's basically the winners of each confederation on a national level will have a mini tournament in that country just to do exactly that, to stress test the pitches, the facilities, the logistics, all of the stuff as well, and doing that. And I think that's where FIFA has switched that out. And that's why very much the FIFA Club World Cup is going to be, the FIFA Club World Cup has been that for the World Cup for FIFA, just to test it out, facilities, communications, logistics, all of those reasons as well. So I think that's probably where they're going to do it, and they probably have got that feedback as well. But it is definitely very relevant and very interesting, as you say, to sort of get on that, because I don't think they're going to be putting artificial pitches. You're not going to have World Cup finals played on artificial pitches. They'll bring in turf, and they'll just have to spend more money and figure out another way to sort of, whether it's more hydroponics or if it's more more fresh turf in there as well, and seeing how it is. But yeah, I think they'll play.
I think the pitch complaints are also just sort of a catch-all for the fact that they also don't like the weather. I mean, because it's really hard to play on any pitch when it's as hot as it has been. Very few of the pitches are going to respond the same way that they respond in Europe. I made the same argument with Bellingham. I'm like, why are you complaining? You grew up in a subarctic country, right? So yeah, of course, where it rains all the time. They're famous for making good pitches.
Waterlogged pitches as well.
It's like it's both teams playing on it. You might not like it, and nobody's had a chance to train. That's the other thing, right? Nobody's really had a chance to train on anything because, it's just too hot.
Chelsea manager was saying this. I heard this saying it's really hard to train in these conditions, which he was whinging about it. And so, look, it is true, right? It is definitely true, right? It is, as you were just saying beforehand, Qooligan, right? You went for a run in this temperature and you were struggling because it's hard to sort of get there. Yeah, it's not fun. So my question is again, is this a sort of learning for FIFA where they give them indoor facilities so they can sort of start training as well? But also you make the argument, it's not conditioning the players for the actual sort of match-like environment as well, and the heat as well. So this is going to be a continual theme even next year for the World Cup, right? All of the international teams are going to struggle and playing in exactly the same conditions. We're going to see these weather delays as well. This has also been a surprising thing that even living here in the South in Texas, like, these crazy sort of southern storms that come through, obviously we're used to it now. It's not something you get when you go and watch European games or you're watching the Champions League as well. Even if it is come rain or shine, they will play. But when there's lightning out here, they will pause that. So there'll be a fair bit of that as well, right?
Yeah.
Well, it seems like the easiest thing would be to say, okay, we're trying to stagger the time zones, right? So everybody in the world can watch these matches, but you're going to have to just start playing them either morning or night, local time, because this afternoon kickoffs is just brutal. I mean, and it lowers the quality. But then again, I think last night Palmeiras and Inter Miami kicked off at 9 p.m. local time, and within the first run out, everybody was soaking wet already.
But that's also fluidity and humidity as well in the summer as well. That's exactly what it is, right? But Devin,
right.
you were... Go ahead.
Well, no, I was just going to say you're going to be hearing about this. Get used to this talking point because we're going to be hearing a lot about it.
You'll hear about this a lot. Yeah, you'll hear about this a lot.
Super. Well, guys, on that, I think let's wrap it up there. That's putting us at time. So yeah, Devin,
Beautiful.
just out of curiosity, one final request from you. What is the wildest bet that you've had so far that you've paid out for this Club World Cup? Have you? Because I remember you and Jordan were talking about like Hakimi to have a shot at like plus 200 or something like that, which was kind of easy money.
As soon as we stopped taking that, of course, he scored, which does give him the shot on target, of course, yesterday. So that was the one we didn't take it for, but that's been a good one for us. The bookies are getting a little bit wise on that. We had a really nice call from one of our guests, actually, who said the Salzburg FC RB, whatever, Salzburg against, I don't even know who they were playing against a couple days ago. Against Al Hilal. Took the outright draw at 3-1 odds. and plus 300 as we call it. And yeah, that was a great shout. So that was probably the biggest
Wow.
single bet that we've hit, which was pretty nice.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, good stuff. Well, as always, obviously the Soccer Sharps, obviously like, follow, subscribe on all of the usual places as well.
Yes,
Love
please
Soccer
check us
Sharps.
out. And thanks so
Please
much for
check 'em
having
out.
me back on, guys. I'm around.
anytime.
So if you need more people to complain, I'm here.
I think we've spent enough time discussing grass and weather as well. So I think we'll have to move on from that one next time as well. So yes, wonderful. All right, gentlemen. Thank you as always. And obviously, as always with us, FIFA Club World Cup followers as well. Like, follow, subscribe as well. Feel free to reach out, communicate with us. Hooligan-Soccer. We are here, and obviously it will be more. It's only 10 days of 30 to go. So we're still 1/3 of the way through as well. So plenty more to go, which is exciting.
Right on. Exciting stuff, guys. Yeah, and check out if you need betting, the Soccer Sharps, a soccer betting podcast, and hooligan-soccer.com.
Wonderful. All right, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Until next time.
Peace.
Bye-bye.